Okay, thank you so much for your patience. It looks like we have everything up and running. So whenever you are ready to go, Dom, thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you so much, Rachel. We are ready to go. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone, actually. Thank you for joining us for this December regular meeting of the Meridian Parks and Recreation Commission. Before we begin, Rachel, would you please kindly call the roll?
Yes, thank you. Dom Gelsomino.
Present.
Adam Short.
Present.
Keith Bevan. Jennifer Bobo.
Present.
Camden Hyde.
Present.
Joe Greer. John Nesmith is absent. Albert Kang.
Present.
Jessica West.
Present.
Brad Hoagland.
Present.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rachel. A quorum being present, I'd like to move for the adoption of tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Thank you. It has been moved by Commissioner West. Do I have a second?
Mr. President, I second the motion.
I believe that was Commissioner Bevan. Commissioner Bevan has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. Our next item is the approval of the minutes for the November 18th, last month's special meeting. Do I have a motion to for the approval of last month's meeting minutes? Excuse me.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve last month's meeting minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner West. Commissioner West has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Did I second the motion?
Commissioner Bevan has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? So ordered. Our next item is our announcements. We have a Christmas presentation by our very own Steve Sidaway. Steve, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm actually going to take the next item for Shelley also. So if it, just as a heads up, but this one, it's Christmas. Merry Christmas. Bah humbug is not in our vocabulary, has kind of become our favorite phrase around here. I look forward to giving you some of the event updates in the next item, but as if we were all here together, I would be, we have some small gifts and a Christmas card to give you. I would be handing them out right now as a thank you, but basically we want to thank you for your service as commissioners. You are citizen volunteers who the only pay you get is the thanks you receive. And I, for one, am very thankful for the service that you provide to our department and to the community as a whole. So we want to say thank you and Merry Christmas. We'll just be mailing these out to you, but we have a Christmas card that you will receive. And then we have a little soft-sided insulated lunch bag that you will also get in the mail. So that is just a small token of our appreciation. And we just want to say thank you and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Steve. I was talking to myself there. It's very much appreciated, and I echo those sentiments. You know, it's we have a pretty solid team here. But Steve, since you mentioned that you will also be covering the upcoming events, the mic is yours.
Yeah, thank you. I'm filling in for Shelley tonight. I know I'm a really poor stand-in for her upbeat personality, but we are so excited with many of the things that that we have going on. The Christmas spirit is alive and well in Parks and Recreation Department. Hopefully, many of you have been able to see the Christmas tree lighting. That was a virtual event that we did last Friday. we can send out the link. It was a Facebook Live event, so no gathering, but we were able to light the tree, and it was actually a really wonderful event, as wonderful as it could be without being together, which would obviously have made it better. But we were glad we were able to do what we could do, and that video is available on Facebook. I will point out, if you go and watch it, the first minute and 30 is kind of dead. So start at about a minute 30 if you haven't had a chance to watch that yet. Santa's mailbox is up and running really, really well. It's gotten quite a bit of publicity on various news cycles. The letters from children in the community are rolling in, and we get those straight to Santa, and Santa's responding to each of the letters that we receive that has a legible return address. So that's great to see that going on, and there are a lot of letters coming in. Last Saturday, we started our Zoom with Santa program, and most of the slots, I think, are already filled. We had 365 different slots for families to take to have a Zoom session with Santa. I was talking with Garrett, who was helping with the logistics last weekend on last Saturday. And he said it was just awesome, the excitement and the energy. And oh, Garrett's there. Garrett, you want to give you want to break in for a quick update if you're right there?
Sure. So with the Santa letters, we were about just over 700 letters so far, and that Santa mailbox went up just before Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving. So we've had 700 letters so far, and we still got a little bit longer to go. So we're, like Steve said, we're hitting a lot of Santa letters. The Zoom with Santa honestly was awesome. I don't think it could have went better. The kids seeing their face light up, being able to do a one-on-one with Santa through Zoom when obviously we can't do some in-person stuff was really awesome. We've had one of our other city employees in Public Works make a comment about how awesome it was at Well and how his kids just loved it. So that's the short version of it. We have a couple more weekends to go with the Zoom with Santa, but it really was awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Garrett. So the downtown businesses have been decorating, and there's a map and some online voting that people can do for their favorite downtown decorations between now and December 20th. One of the ones that we're kind of really excited about for coming up, there's actually a couple, but since we cannot do our Children's Winterland Festival the way that it usually happens this year, we have a program called Winterland in the Bag, and the bags were all stuffed with arts and crafts projects just yesterday. They're going to be handing them out at the community center this Saturday between 10 and noon. I believe there's 500 for the first 500 that come through there. We're asking people to just stay in their vehicles and drive through and pick one up. And then also this Saturday and Sunday is the Meridian Ornament Drop, where people can make a little handmade ornament, hide it around downtown for someone else to find. And then when someone else finds it, there should be a little tag explaining what it is and a little hashtag that people can use to post what they found. We have, well, I'll get to the information on where to find more details on all of these online for you and anyone else that wants to know. But there's also an interactive map, a digital map of Christmas tree lights around town that people can go on and mark their favorite Christmas lights, or if you've got a particularly festive display, they can say, hey, come check out what we've done. And then one that is near and dear to my heart, the Salvation Army Angel Tree is up. Its deadline is actually end of day tomorrow. We do have a drop box here at City Hall, but for most people, if someone's watching, it's actually everything can be done online this year. So it's a virtual toy drive for anyone watching virtually, as well as for City Hall employees, a way to drop them off. And the response has been inspiring. I'm so happy that so many people have been donating to that. Donations will be accepted for our own efforts through end of day tomorrow, and then we need to deliver those to the Salvation Army on Friday to give them time to get them organized and presented, and to the families that need them. And then finally, out in front of City Hall is our little free library that Shelley runs, and she's keeping it stocked this year with Christmas and winter themed books for anyone that wants to take and maybe even give back a book of their own. So book exchanges are available there. I think it's also worth mentioning that we've done a fundraiser for the children in the Meridian Head Start program. We've been able to provide Christmas gifts to 60 preschoolers there through the donations that we've received. No tax dollars go into that, if anyone's curious, but it's been awesome. Volunteers have been wrapping the gifts this week, and they're going to be delivered later this week to the Head Start program for those families as well. So happy with many of the activities and events that we've got going on. Our mantra is that even though there's many things we cannot do during this difficult time, we're going to do what we can. And I'm really proud that we've come up with this list of things to do. And that's my update.
Thank you so much, Steve. It really is heartwarming, like you said, that during this time, did I mention the website? I don't think I did. Oh, go ahead.
For anyone that needs details about, how to drop an ornament, or how the Winterland in the Bag works, or anything like that, or how to access the Christmas tree light map, you can go to www.christmasinmeridian.org. And the details for all of these activities are located there.
Awesome, thank you. All righty, our next, we do not have any old business. Our next item on the agenda under new business is the 2021 Meridian Parks and Recreation Commission elections. It is an election of officers. Meridian City Code directs us to hold elections at our December meeting. Our bylaws state that officers of the commission shall include the commission chair and the commission vice chair. Our bylaws also state that the commission vice chair shall be automatically nominated for the position of chair. Vice President Joe Greer is therefore our first nominee for the office of chair. Are there any other nominations for the office of chair or president of the Parks and Recreation Commission? All righty. So Commissioner Joe Greer has been nominated for the office of chair. Are there any other nominations for chair? Seeing none, the nominations for chair are now closed. I will now take nominations from the floor for the office of vice chair.
Mr. President?
Commissioner Greer. Commissioner Greer, I apologize. I don't know if it's on my end or.
It's probably on my end.
But I can. There we go. I can hear it. Yes, thank you.
Speak directly into the mic.
Okay, I would like to nominate Commissioner Keith Bevins for vice chair.
A nomination has been made. Commissioner Keith Bevin has been nominated for the office of vice chair. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none and seeing none, the nominations for vice chair are now closed. I propose that we vote on these nominations as a slate and by acclamation, since both nominees are running unopposed. Is there a motion to elect Commissioner Joe Greer as chair and Commissioner Keith Bevan as vice chair?
So, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to
Commissioner
elect,
West.
I'd like to make a motion to elect Joe Greer as chair and Keith Bevan as vice chair.
A motion has been made. Is there a second?
I second. John Nesmith seconds.
Commissioner Nesmith seconds. We have a first, and it has been moved and seconded that we elect Commissioner Joe Greer as chair and Commissioner Keith Bevan as vice chair for 2021. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Congratulations, President Joe Greer and Vice President Keith Bevan. Do we want, Steve, do we want to have the new leadership say anything, or what would you like us, or would you like us to move to the next item?
I think it's fine if they want to say something. Sure.
Absolutely. Commissioner Greer or Commissioner Bevan, if you guys have anything you'd like to mention, and
I'm always willing to speak. Thank you, Commission, for the nomination and election as chair of the Parks and Rec Commission. As you know, I've been in this seat before, but for anyone who hasn't or that are new to the commission, I just wanted to extend the information that this is something that lasts for 1 year. If you are the chair, you run the meetings. If you are vice chair, you run the meetings if the chair is not present.
Joe, you're fading out real bad and we're losing you. Can you talk right
Can
into
you
the
hear me
microphone?
better now? I have
Yes.
to be like right on the microphone. Okay, move it. Okay, so as I was saying, this lasts for 1 year. The chair runs the meetings, the vice chair runs the meetings if the chair is not present. So if this is something, everyone on the commission is eligible for this. So if this is something after you watch for the next year that you want to do, please make sure that you let people know towards the end of the year so that we know that there's an interest. So that was all I wanted to say, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Greer. And just one last quick thing as well. If you are chair and vice chair, you will also be in attendance for the agenda meetings with the mayor and Steve and Rachel once a month before towards the end of the month to plan out and kind of solidify what the agenda will be for the next meeting, or if meetings need to be canceled, that is discussed at that meeting as well. All righty, Commissioner Bevan, anything on your end, or?
Sure. Thank you.
Awesome.
Mr. President. Well, thank you. No, I look forward to it. And, it's been 3 years. I've enjoyed my time on the commission, and look forward to maybe doing a little bit extra than I have in the past. And I'm just always, I'm grateful I get to be part of the greatest Parks and Rec department in the United States. That's why
Couldn't
I'm
agree more.
sticking to it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to both of you. Alrighty, our next item is our brainstorming for the 2021 Meridian Parks and Recreation Commission goals. Steve, the floor is yours.
All right, Rachel, are you able to bring up the little spreadsheet? Okay. So we as staff have gone through and prepared for your consideration some draft goals based on some changes to the current 2020 goals. I'll quickly run through them and highlight the changes between the 2020 and proposed 2021. Of course, these are your goals. So if you have something to add or change, that is certainly open, but we'd like to come with this as at least a starting point for your consideration. So the first item is related to pathways, and it pretty much carries over from item 1 you see on the left to item A on the right. The main change is that we changed the phrase at the end that did state with 5 Mile Creek Pathway and the Railway Trail Pathway as top priorities. And since we're now currently moving into a phase where we are focusing on making these small but high priority connections all across the city, north and south of the freeway, and we're working on developing those into projects. We just modified that last phrase to be with a focus on developing projects for future construction. And you can see earlier it says a connected pathway system across the city of Meridian. So that's the tweak there. Number 2 on the left, which is coordination with the City of Eagle so that we can connect to the Boise River Greenbelt and with other neighboring communities, specifically Boise and Nampa, for additional connections of our pathway systems. We proposed actually deleting that one. That we did not carry that one over to the right. It doesn't mean it's not a priority. It's just that coordination we feel has happened to a point that we are comfortable that we have delivered those messages. They have agreed to help us. And we think within the context of item A on the right of developing a connected pathway system across the city of Meridian, that we can just follow up as needed under that particular goal. So at least for your proposed consideration, we were striking the number 2 with the idea that we have accomplished that coordination, and come a year from now, or even during the year, if we ever want to bring them back, we certainly can under either item A on the right, or we've also got one coming up with other agencies coming up in item D. So with that, number 3 on the left carries forward to item B on the right with no changes. That's supporting the design and construction of Discovery Park Phase 2, which we hope to kick off back into design in 2021. Item 4 is the community center on the Civic Block, and you've had a couple of recent updates. And like I mentioned last month, we hope to be before you in January and probably again in March with some more detailed updates on that project. So we just carried that forward to item C on the right. Item 5 also carries forward. That's engaging other task forces, commissions, and other entities and agencies to come and interact with us for outreach information that we need, as well as partnership opportunities. Had no changes to that one, so that one is item D on the right. Item 6 on the left is to pursue improved tools and opportunities to engage our citizens and stakeholders. We've been doing some new online virtual town hall meetings like we recently did with the Lakeview Golf Course. And so we're always looking for new ways of interacting and engaging the public. So we carried that one over with no changes. Item 7 is to continue to foster greater commission involvement and presence in community events. The only change to that is, since we're not currently having events, we anticipate the time will come next year when we will. So we just added the phrase whenever appropriate on the right under item F, so that, while we may not be ready to reach out and have a greater commission presence early in the spring, possibly, we imagine that we hope that by fall, maybe with the community block party or other events during the summer, that we'll be ready to bring you back. Item 8 on the left is to discuss progress on our goals and objectives in the Meridian Parks and Recreation Master Plan. No proposed changes. We think that's a good annual check-in with you on how we're doing with our goals. Number 9 on the left is to hold workshops during commission meetings to address current issues. We carried that one forward. Item 10 is to participate in partnership with the Meridian Arts Commission to add theming and identity, reinforcing art in Meridian parks and along pathways. We carried that one forward with no changes. And just a quick heads up, we do anticipate engaging the commission in discussions next year with a possible public art project at the new trailhead location that's being constructed along 10 Mile. And then item 11 on the left, we proposed deleting that one. The commission did participate in the design of the parking lot expansion at Heroes Park. We see that as complete. That project is actually currently out to bid. Bids open just after the new year. And so that will become a construction project for next summer. And design is done. So I think that's done. And what we propose replacing it with on the right, we would like to engage the commission in your participation in the development of our Lakeview Golf Course Master Plan, which is kind of a strategic plan related to the golf course operations. We do have a golf course focus group. We actually met with them earlier today. They will also be heavily involved, but we think with now that that golf course falls under our purview in Parks and Recreation, that we would like to get your feedback and input as well during that process. So with that, I'm going to pause for a moment and just ask if there are, if you like the changes as proposed, and if anyone has any additional changes or additions. I'm not hearing any. So,
Mr. President?
Yes, Steve.
Steve, I had a quick question. I like what you did. It makes sense, like on the pathway situation, instead of being specific, but just to then these goals are, pathways are going to be very much a priority, and then we're going to have a pathways work to identify the priorities within this goal. Is that how you see that going?
oh yes, yeah, we don't need to list every priority. We've got a list of, we started off with a dozen during the summer. I think we're up to 13 or 14 separate projects now. And there will be, within that one goal, will be a process of developing 14 and more, if we find more during the course of the year, to be developed into future construction projects. So there will very much be a prioritization and discussion of projects within that one goal.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I think that's great.
And pathways have been the number one goal for the commission for a number of years running. And I fully support that myself. We continue to hear from our citizens that it is a top priority for them as well. It continues to be a top priority for our mayor. So it's a good goal to continue moving. Any other comments or questions? I'm gonna pause for 10 seconds or so. All right, hearing none. What for our new commissioners, what we like to put these in the order of the commission as a group collectively. So what Rachel has up here is a list of A through K. And if I've done my math right, that's 10. I'm going to recount them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that 11? 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's a J in there that I think needs, oh.
Yeah, there are 10.
There are 10? Okay. So what we want you to do is take these draft 2021 goals for the commission, A through K, and Rachel's going to paste them in so that it's clear. And then what we're going to ask you to do is on your own individually, rank them 1 through 10, with 1 being your highest priority and 10 being your lowest priority. And then we're going to write each individual vote under your names on the left. We'll tally them all up, and then we will get the order on the right. And while we do like to go through the prioritization process, the reality is we work on all these. And just because one's at the bottom doesn't mean it's not going to get worked on. But it is helpful to us to know which ones are the highest priority for the commission. And Rachel, I'm just going to point out that the A, B, C, D, E, F, Gs are out of order on the
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah. We'll let Rachel finish copy and pasting, and then we will give you a couple of minutes to determine your own order of 1 through 10. What we'd like to do is just go, I think it's simplest if we just go A through K, and you say something like A is number 4 and B is number 1 and C is, and we'll just go down that way and give us, that way it's top to bottom, and you can give us your numeric priority of 1 through 10. While it's a little bit clunky, it actually works. So I'll go ahead and there's the list in front of you, A through J, and just take a minute and write your own priorities down, 1 through 10, and if someone is ready, you can speak up, and we can, it doesn't matter what order we go in, so you can as soon as someone's ready, just speak up and we'll take your votes.
So, Mr. President, I'm ready. If you want to, this is Commissioner West.
Commissioner West, the floor is yours.
All right, so starting from the top, 3, 2, 1, 7, 4, 10, 8, 5, 9, 6.
All right, thank you, Commissioner West.
Mr. President, this is Commissioner Bevan. I have my list.
Commissioner Bevan, the floor is yours.
Okay, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 5, 10, 7, 9, 3. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else ready?
Mr. President, this is Camden Hyde.
Commissioner Hunt, the floor is yours.
1, 3, 6, 7, 5, 10, 9, 8, 2, 4.
Excellent. Thank you, Camden.
And Steve, I'm ready when you are.
I think as soon as Rachel's ready, you can go ahead, Dom.
Awesome. Rachel, whenever you are, I'll go ahead.
Looks like
I'm
she's
ready. Thank you.
Wonderful. So beginning from the top, it'll be 1, 3, 4, 8, 2, 5, 10, 7, 6, 9.
All right. Who would like to be next?
I'm ready.
Is that John?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, John.
Okay, 1, 2, 5, 6, 10, 8, 7, 3.
I think we missed the one after 8. Your mic cut out.
4, 4, 9, 7, 3.
All right. Did we capture it right? I think we did. Okay. Who would like to go next?
Mr. President, this is Autumn.
Autumn.
I'm ready. So 1, 3, 2, 6, 7, 10, 9, 8, 5, 4.
Thank you, Autumn.
Mr. President? I can go? This is
Go ahead,
Commissioner
Jen.
Bobo.
Yes, Commissioner Bobo, the floor is yours.
1, 2, 3, 7, 5, 4, 8, 9, 10, 6.
All right. Joe or Albert, are either of you ready?
Yep, Mr. President, Albert's ready.
Commissioner King, the floor is yours.
1, 3, 2, 5, 4, 10, 8, 9, 7, 6.
Thank you, Albert. And Joe, are you ready?
I am ready.
You're gonna have to talk loud.
Okay. 1, 4, 2, 8, 10, 7, 5, 9, 6, 3.
Awesome. All right, we'll just pause for a moment while Rachel works her spreadsheet math magic, and we'll get the scores here momentarily.
And Mr. President, this is Brad Hoagland.
Councilman Hoagland, the floor
Yeah,
is
just
yours.
want to say thank you. While she's doing that, just appreciate the commissioners working on this. This does help us when it goes to budget time. You know, that's what the saying, you know, the rubber meets the road comes to the priorities that you guys say we need to be in. We listen to that. It's very important to us to hear from the community, and this really helps us. So appreciate your effort on this, and hopefully we can fund the vast majority of this. There's never enough money for everything that we want to do, but we do the best we can. So, and if there's anything that pops up during the year or as we're heading into the budgeting cycle as a commission, if there are things that you want us to be aware of, certainly by all means, let us know. We usually do that in starting in February, March. Steve's, you guys are putting together the budget, and then we start having our meetings and start that process. So it is very important. So thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I've got a question for Mr. Sidaway.
Bet.
Commissioner West.
The Discovery Park phase just sparked my, when we're talking about out that way, the South YMCA, and any updates or plans for the aquatic center piece that was going to come in after that they've been working on. I know they got the funding. I was just wondering if there's been any news on, seems like they're building out there. If the date of that is still set as the original date, which I think is fall of 2021, right?
I know it's actively under construction. Garrett has, if you're still online, you've been in the meetings with the YMCA more recently than I have. Do you remember their projected date for the aquatic center at the YMCA?
Right now, they're on schedule as is, and their original date was, late July, early August, but right now they're on schedule to finish right around July, so of 2021. So they're still trucking along and doing good.
That. And I have one more question. When we talk about the support, design, and construction of Discovery Park Phase 2, do we plan to have a workshop soon for that? And is the date of that still on track?
Sorry, a date for the workshop for what again?
No, do we have a workshop for further design and construction planning of Discovery Park Phase 2? And is that still on plan for its original target date?
As of right now, the project is still on hold, but we are moving forward with the with design construction documents for, well, let me I think Mike would do a better job updating you than I. So Mike, if you're on, why don't you go ahead and answer that question?
So I stepped out for 1 second, and I think the question was about Discovery Park Phase 2, correct?
Discovery Park Phase 2, and when are we, coming back to the commission? I know we don't have a date yet, but they were just wondering about the process for the rest of the design.
Yep, great question. So what we want to do first is we want to start pick back up where we left off, but specifically focusing on roadway design, the parking lot layout, and some of the infrastructure that we need to put in as far as water, sewer, and power. And then our next stop will be, we were in front of the commission, and then our next stop was going to be on to city council to talk about what specific amenities and the amenity choices and layouts we're going to go into it. If that changes, either way, the parking and the road into the park's not going to change. So it's our goal to start back up with road into the park, parking infrastructure now, and get a head start on that, because the fire station that's on the corner of the park is currently in design. We are designing the road at the intersection of that new collector and Lake Hazel for them, so there's some continuity of design. So we don't want to hold them up. So we want to do that, and then the other strategy there is there's the possibility that we might submit a cooperative development agreement with ACHD for some widening work on Lake Hazel itself, but we can't submit that until there's an active application for the park. So a lot of moving parts and pieces. Short story is our next stop is, maybe we'll strategize. It might make sense to go to the commission again because it's been so long with the amenities, and then on to city council. But the road design is going to trudge forward regardless of what exactly is chosen for active stuff.
Thanks, Mike. And especially where we have some new commissioners, I think it might be really good to come back with an update, and it'll be more of a reminder than a true update, but an update on where we've landed on the proposed amenities.
Yeah.
And we can time that maybe right before we go to council, maybe in the February timeframe.
Sure.
We can do that and maybe come back to the commission and then go to council, get buy-off, hopefully on moving forward with the construction documents. And, if all goes well, it's our hope to, maybe be out to bid a year from now, but there's a lot of moving parts between now and then, and a lot of approvals that would need to happen. So, but that would be a rough timeline. Does that answer your question?
I think so.
Yeah,
it sounds like we kind of were put back a little bit. We kind of had to regroup, re-strategize quite a bit, and now we need to reconvene and just kind of review where we're at in our new plan. The thing that I don't think I was fully aware of, and I'm sure you probably shared this, was that it was on hold. So I don't think I fully realized that it's been on hold. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think we gave that update at the early part of the year, but the design has been on hold, basically waiting for road improvements and pedestrian connections and things like that to catch up a little bit. So now we're still tracking down, but we're gathering the timelines of some of those and hoping to re-engage that discussion.
So the target date of earliest, so if it went out to bid, you said next year, and I'm hoping that's 2021 is what the next year that we're talking about, and not 2022. But then would we be looking at 2022 completion?
2023 late summer completion, if we are able to kick things off ASAP.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for clarifying that.
And part of what we're trying to coordinate too is there's a couple of gas lines that run across the property, and because one of them needs to be replaced, Williams Pipeline is going to go in and replace those gas lines, and we don't want to build anything over the top of those only to have whatever we did torn out, because they won't fix it, whether it's landscaping or roads or anything. They're going to come in and they're going to dig the site up.
I remember that part. I thought they hadn't even given us a date for when they do that though. So we were going to kind of move ahead.
Well, correct. They don't. What we were originally trying to do is coordinate with them. So when the park is under construction, they could also be doing their work in there, and we can with a slight tweak to the sequencing, we could get everything all done at once. And that's proved to be very tricky, that they kind of operate on their own timeline, and they're going to do what they're going to do, and it's going to be on their time. But they do have a regulatory requirement to complete that work within 2 years of when the park opens. So that means later this summer, or from when they did their survey, I think, which was in October of 19. Yeah. So they need to finish by October of 21. And whether they can file for an extension or not, I don't know, but that's the latest. But we're going to, one of the first stops when we start the parking roadway design is going to be the Williams Pipeline to check in on what their schedule is. Because we haven't talked to them for probably 6 months.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean for us to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Appreciate
that's good.
it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So back to the all commission goals. Rachel has reordered these. As you can see, they were tallied on the left. The Pathways one has a total score of 11. Again, lower score is a higher priority because we had you do your highest priority as number 1. And then she hasn't filled in 9 and 10 yet because we have a tie at the bottom of 71. For simplicity, I would propose that we just make those 9 and 10 in that order. Rachel, why don't you go ahead and fill it in that way? And if anybody has a suggestion, otherwise, it's certainly open for discussion. But they're so close, I'm not sure it matters. And so for simplicity, I would just say there's our 10 in order, 1 through 10. And I would just ask if there are any questions about the combined scoring. Any questions? If not, what we need is a motion and an approval of this list as the aggregate priorities of the commission as a whole.
Thank you so much, Steve. With that, do we have a motion to add in the list as shown here as the 2021 Meridian Parks and Recreation Commission goals?
Mr. President, I move that we accept these goals as described and prioritized on this list.
Motion has been moved by Commissioner Bevan. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Greer has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Mr.
The
President?
motion is carried.
Mr. President?
Yes, Commissioner Greer.
I just wanted to add to all of that discussion, thanks to Councilman Hoagland for acknowledging that the information that we review on an annual basis is looked at and the feedback is nice. So any other feedback that you might have would be greatly appreciated coming from council.
I agree. Thank you so much, Commissioner Greer. Steve, go ahead.
Was the motion voted on? Sorry.
Yes, it was motion. There was a motion by Commissioner Bevan and seconded by Commissioner Greer, and the majority favored.
Okay, sorry. Then I think that takes care of that action item. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. These new goals will be included on your January 2021 agenda and throughout the year.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you, members of the commission. And thank you, Councilman Hoagland, as well as I echo very much what Commissioner Greer mentioned earlier. So Commission, our next item, we do not have any workshops. Our next item on the agenda will be the staff reports by the Meridian Parks and Recreation staff. Steve, the floor is yours.
All right, I'll be brief because you heard most of my update already in the upcoming events. I'll just say that I'm really proud of our staff and the way that they are moving forward under the current protocols and guidelines to do what we can. And my final thing is that as this will be Councilman Hoagland's final commission meeting with us, I want to extend on the record a personal thanks to him for being our council liaison for the year and representing us so well on the city council. So thank you, Councilman Hoagland.
Thank you, Steve. It's my pleasure. Thanks, commissioners.
Thank you, Councilman Hoagland.
So I think we can go to Mike and or Garrett next, whenever you're ready.
Absolutely. The floor is yours. Whoever would like to go first.
Okay, I'm going to just go over a couple of things and then I'll fill in for Kim as she's not feeling so hot this evening, so she missed the meeting. Like we talked about, Discovery Park's a big priority. We've got the parking lot expansion at Heroes Park that's currently out to bid. we moved the bid opening from December 28th to January 7th for good reason. We were getting some pushback from our contractor group that suppliers weren't open, and it was going to be difficult to get pricing. So we're going to open bids on the 7th of January for that. And we're working with Brighton Corporation wants to possibly donate some pickleball courts to be installed in Kleiner Park. So we're working with Brighton on that donation and some possible couple of different court layout scenarios that we want to bring to you guys to look at. We probably have a preferred option, but we want to make sure, you know, that get you guys to weigh in on it for sure. And then ton of golf course stuff. We took over on the 9th and full speed ahead, even though it's winter. And then as far as Kim goes, I have her staff report pulled up, and I'm going to stand by that. The only thing that would be an update to what she wrote would be number 3, the South Slough, and that she said that it bid opening scheduled for December 2nd. We opened bids. We got an approved low bid that we are awarding. So we're going to do that tiling work and shorter section of pathway. We got to do the tiling work right now while the water is not flowing. And then as soon as the weather warms up, we'll be able to pave that path and go forward. So that one's moving right along. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mike. Do we have any questions for Mike or I guess Kim, if towards Mike from the commission? Hearing none. Mike, again, thank you, and thank you for stepping in for Kim.
Mr. President, I think I can go if you're ready for me.
Garrett, the floor is yours.
Right on. So a lot of things that Steve mentioned before is what the rec team's been putting together regarding all these Christmas, I guess, community engagement activities. Renee, Jenna, Chelsea, Maggie, Skylar, I mean, everybody there has been a huge help. Vicky, Jeanette, yeah, they're working remote, but I mean, they're helping with Santa letters, they're helping with Zoom with Santa, they're helping with setup, backdrops, you name it. So like Steve said, pretty proud of what the rec team has accomplished and what they've been able to pull off based on the current orders and just being creative and really just staying active. We're still staying pretty busy. Some of the things that I've been doing, I just put out recently the Kleiner Park concessions RFP. The concessionaire that's been out there for the last 3 years, his contract is up. So it's time to, put an RFP out to see if anybody else is interested in doing it and go from there. The Fuller Park snow cone concessionaire is also going to be coming out here soon. I'm hoping to have that out tomorrow. To take a step backwards, the Kleiner Park concessions RFP will be due mid-January, and then we'll review those and get another concessionaire in there in the spring. Fuller Park's RFP will be due early February to kind of get the same thing going out there. On top of all that stuff, I've been doing the Meridian Youth Baseball Fuller Park agreement. Finally got in touch with MYB yesterday, had a good meeting with them to discuss uses out there at Fuller Park with all of their programs that they have going on. Talking with Jake Hines, the MYB president, their numbers right now are higher and still up above what they normally are in a year. So looks like the kids are ready to get back out there and start playing as long as everybody's safe. Been working with the Main Street Market an agreement. The contract that we had with the current vendor last year is up, but we're renewing it this year. So I've been working with legal regarding that as well. A lot of stuff that I've been doing recently is regarding all the field applications, the park field applications for 2021. Skylar Cook, our rec coordinator, sports coordinator, will be doing the majority of that. It's a pretty big undertaking, so I don't want to just throw him to the wolves on that. So I'll be helping him throughout the year. but our field space is just extremely full. We're going through that today for several hours, just piecing it all together and getting all these youth groups that use our parks for different programs, space and reservable space. So that's what we've been doing. And on top of that, I've been doing a lot with Zoom with Santa, and other Christmas activities. So with that, I'll stand for any questions regarding the rec side.
Thank you, Garrett. Do we have any questions from the commission for Garrett? Hearing none. Garrett, thank you again for your update, and we appreciate everything you guys do. And like you said, the Parks Department has really done some amazing acrobatics to, accommodate for this year's change in plans. So thank you so much. All righty. Do we have any further updates from the Parks and Rec staff?
I think that's everything for us, Mr. President.
Wonderful. Well, with that, we do not have any further items on the agenda for tonight. So I would like to have a motion for the adjournment of tonight's meeting.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Greer.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn the December 9th, 2020 meeting.
The motion has been made by Commissioner Greer. Do we have a second?
I second.
Commissioner Kang has seconded. There has been a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion carries, and we will adjourn for tonight's meeting.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Tom, are you still there?